Man, this is a tough one. This really is a tough one, man. I had people text me as soon as this show was over. I can't wait to watch what you say in the morning. I don't know how much I'm going to say tonight because my voice is shot. My voice is shot. I don't have a voice to give. I don't think WWE deserves my voice. Why are you guys here? You're here because you want to see me destroy this show verbally. You guys might be here because you respect my opinion. You guys might be here because you hate me and you want to maybe clip a piece of the podcast and put it on your Instagram so that you can accumulate likes based off my work. Or maybe you're someone on Twitter who's watched this video and wants to complain about why I'm complaining. Oh, JD is the Antichrist of the wrestling community. You might be someone in WWE who works for the WWE, whether it be in Stamford, whether it be for NXT, whether it's somebody on the main roster. And I know you listen. I'm looking at you, Seth. I probably got a picture of myself hanging on the locker room wall. Public enemy number one. Seth roaming around the locker room. Don't listen to this geek. Don't. Alexa Bliss is probably calling for my head. Dead or alive. Bring him to me. You're here because you've seen the thumbnail. Worst Hell in a Cell match ending ever. I had Salrex put that in the thumbnail because it's true. I even put something on social media. 1 hour ago. 5,000 votes. Now, I don't know what you think about me or how legit you think I am. Or, oh, JD's opinion means nothing. He's just a YouTube personality. 5,000 people is a large chunk of people. 5,000 people could fit an arena for a good wrestling show. Was this the worst Hell in a Cell match ending in WWE history? 93% are waving that flag of negative right behind me. I got 5,000 people, an army of 5,000 people waving that flag of negativity who voted and think the same way that I do after tonight. 93% said yes, 7% said no, and I don't even take that as a valid opinion. I just think that's straight stupidity. There's no way that you could vote no and mean it. There's no way. There's absolutely no way you're voting no and saying there, oh, this was a good show. Oh, this was a great ending. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I've been a fan of WWE for 33 years. I remember sitting on my dad's knee watching WrestleMania 4. I remember sitting in my grandpa's house on his living room rug with my grandma sitting in her signature seat right behind me. My mom and dad sitting on the sofa with her. I remember sitting on my grandpa's rug in the living room watching WrestleMania 5. I remember tears flowing down my face as Ravishing Rick Rude cheated to beat the Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental Championship with the help of Bobby the Brain Heenan. Never forget that moment, man. Iconic. It's iconic. As a young child watching WWE, as a grown man now, that memory has never left at all. It's carried everywhere I go when I think pro wrestling. No matter what iconic moments that you cherish from your childhood, there's one other pertaining to the overall theme of tonight's show. There's one other iconic moment that a lot of us will never, ever forget. An iconic moment that people will tell their children, if you haven't already. Go out there when they're at a certain age and show them this iconic moment. I want you guys to think back and close your eyes. I want each and every one of you to close your eyes. June 28th, 1998. I want you guys to think about that moment where The Undertaker was already on top of the cage. Mick Foley climbed up the cage with him and they started that match up there. You never seen anything like that in WWE. Chair shots. We've seen them walking along the top of the structure. Now, The Undertaker was billed at 328 pounds. Mick Foley was every bit of 300 pounds. Over 600 pounds walking on top of a steel structure. And as they walked on top of the structure, the ceiling was about to cave in. You see nuts, bolts, and fucking straps that held that ceiling in place pop off as their feet went right through the top of the cage. We all thought that they were going to fall through in that moment. This was right before Mick Foley flew into the Pittsburgh night sky as he fell 25 feet right between Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross. That is a moment. That is a moment that will never, ever leave your memory. It's something from our childhood that is sacred to us. And I got a lot of pictures behind me. A lot of pictures that I got via crates, or a lot of pictures I got by attending shows and fortunately having certain performers sign them for me. I got my YouTube plaque hanging right above me, right behind me. It's the most important thing in my life. This is what I do for a living. This is my pride and joy. This is what's making me a living. This is what is getting me to a point where I can achieve my dream. There's also another thing that's hanging on this wall that you guys can't see. And I want you to open your eyes now. And I want you to visualize what I just said. And I want to show you this. See that? See that right there? That's that moment I was talking about. That's that moment. That's that moment I was talking about. I don't know who to blame for tonight. I really don't. I don't know who to blame. I don't know whether to blame Vince McMahon, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Paul Heyman, or all four of them. I don't know. But I'm going to blame Paul Heyman. I'm going to blame Paul Heyman because Vince McMahon has indirectly told us to blame Paul Heyman. The finger of JD is blaming Paul Heyman for the ending of Hell in a Cell tonight. WWE is in such a sad state that they don't care about creating iconic moments like that anymore. They don't. Seth Rollins doesn't care. Bray Wyatt doesn't care. Vince McMahon doesn't care. Kevin Dunn doesn't care. Eric Bischoff doesn't care. Bruce Pritchard doesn't care. Everybody that works behind the scenes of WWE doesn't care. Doesn't care. How you could look at that? How you could look at that with two men who absolutely broke their bodies for us, for our childhood. Mick Foley, who probably shed years of his life for us. How you could look at that and then look at what they did tonight and be happy with yourself. How could Rollins wake up in the morning? How could Rollins wake up and look his fiancée in the eye and say, I'm happy with where I am in life. I'm happy with my career. How could Bray Wyatt wake up and look at his girlfriend and contemplate his career and be happy with what he's doing right now? How could Paul Heyman say, yeah, Vince, we did a good job tonight? There's absolutely no way you could. There's no way you could. This company does not give a shit about creating moments anymore. They don't create memories that last a lifetime anymore. They don't care. They don't care. Tonight was one of the worst endings to a match I have ever seen in my 33 years of watching this product. How you could look at that and then have this fucking match is beyond fucking pathetic. Beyond. How you could ever have another Hell in a Cell match after tonight? You can't do it. You cannot do it. WWE has completely, if not already, ruined the Hell in a Cell structure. WWE has ruined Bray Wyatt. He's dead. I don't give a shit what you think or how you explain to me the post-match attack. WWE has their greatest character in 2019 in a match for the Universal Championship that he should have won. And while he's giving Seth Rollins the mandible claw, Sacramento, California is chanting All Elite Wrestling. Every bit of that backlash, Vince McMahon deserves every bit of it. How you could look at Mick Foley kill himself, not only for you, but for us in 1998, and then proceed to book a Hell in a Cell match with that ending. You deserve every bit of it. Every bit of that backlash. Seth Rollins is an embarrassment. He really is. Seth Rollins comes off to me as somebody who doesn't, along with everybody else, because he's got that corporate dick in his hand, and I guarantee you, he is a man. If you look at him now, you're probably thinking, oh, don't be so hard on him. He's a great performer. I guarantee you Seth Rollins is the type of guy that goes along with anything that is given to him without any desire to make it better. He goes along with everything that he's given, and he refuses to make a memory out of it. He refuses to make it epic. Then he'll go on social media and complain why everybody doesn't like him. He'll go on social media and complain that he's the best on the planet at what he does because he wrestles for WWE and he holds a worthless championship that I could find out aisle 6 next to the kiddie fruit snacks. You know, I used to have fruit by the foot when I was in 4th grade. Now I see Seth Rollins carrying around a title that resembles my fucking favorite 4th grade snack. Seth Rollins looks like a guy that doesn't give a shit about creating a memory. How you could be a part of a Hell in a Cell match when I got Mick Foley and The Undertaker standing above me? How you could be in a Hell in a Cell match and have this ending presented to you and you stamp your name of approval on this thing without any desire to change it? Did any of you not think what was going to happen here? Seriously. Did Paul Heyman not think what was going to happen here? You know, everybody wants to cite Paul Heyman as a genius. I'm pointing the finger of blame at Paul Heyman. I really am. Because he accepted this position. So now we have a reason to blame him. We now have a title with Paul Heyman on Monday night. He's the executive director of Monday Night Raw, right? Vince McMahon gave you this position for the same reasons I have cited for months. He's not in the kitchen anymore. You are. And now you have to watch it burn. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. The fire extinguisher is empty. Vince McMahon hightailed it out of there, and he's leaving you in that kitchen to watch it burn. You are going to get all the heat for what you've seen on this show tonight. And I don't blame anybody coming at anybody on WWE Creative after tonight. I'm blaming Paul Heyman. Because Vince McMahon didn't want all of this to fall on him anymore, so he hired some poor schmuck to be his meat shield. It's unreal. I don't understand how nobody thought of what was going to happen here. I said it weeks ago when they booked this thing. One way in and one way out. Bray Wyatt is Universal Champion. I said it weeks ago. Going into this thing, if Rollins showcases himself the way he did tonight, he's going to end up as a heel. What happened? Seth Rollins was booed out of that building more so than anyone else on the active roster. With every curb stomp, Seth Rollins was the most hated man in all of WWE. Bray Wyatt is portrayed as a heel. He's killing puppets on the Firefly Funhouse. He's attacking Seth Rollins every week. He came out of that looking like the biggest babyface on the planet. And Rollins looked like the biggest heel in the WWE. Did you not know that was going to happen? Please tell me you did not know that was going to happen. You had to. And you refused. There's no way that you are a creative writer. There's no way that you are Paul Heyman. There's no way that you're Vince McMahon and did not realize that was the reaction you were going to get. And then WWE, if they gave Wyatt the championship, after everything that Seth Rollins did in that match, chairs, ladders, toolbox, sledgehammer, ladder. after everything that they did to Bray Wyatt in that match, if he ended up winning, were they even thinking about how to beat him after that? Who would have beaten Bray Wyatt if he really did walk out of Hell in a Cell as the Universal Champion? After everything that Rollins did, what else could someone else do to beat Bray Wyatt? It would have to be much worse than what Seth Rollins did tonight. And who was going to do that? Did you think about that? Why did you even put Bray Wyatt in this match to begin with? Why did you put him in this match to begin with if you were never going to give him the championship? Was it because Bray Wyatt is very Halloween-esque? Was it because it goes with Hell in a Cell? I don't understand. Now, again, I find it very difficult to believe that these people are smarter than me. I really do. These people came off as the dumbest fucks in wrestling. I don't believe that I could sit here on a YouTube channel with a microphone and a camera and put myself and my face in front of 40,000 fucking people every single week with every video and be smarter than the people that are writing this show. Why did you put him in this situation? What's going to happen now? What's going to happen now? I don't understand how you have the hottest fucking wrestler in the world and you don't follow through. How you don't follow through. You had one shot. One shot to give that man the championship. Give that man the championship. Now what are you going to do? Book another match? You had the scene. You had the moment. You had the lighting. You had everything. You had the audience. Everybody in that arena wanted him to win the championship. Now you're going to do it again. And when it happens again, it's not going to even come close to resembling the first time. You had one moment to make it right. Now who's going to give a shit when you do it again? Bray Wyatt should have walked out the Universal Champion. And you failed. Bray Wyatt is dead. No matter what you do with him. Bray Wyatt's character is finished. You know who won tonight? It wasn't Bray Wyatt. I'll tell you who won tonight. Cody, Kenny, Matt, Nick, Tony Khan, AEW. They won. Because you had however many people in Sacramento, California, chanting AEW in the main event with your hottest act. You know what I was doing? Laughing. I was laughing at every fucking AEW chant. I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. Paul Heyman and everybody on Monday Night Raw, being that this was a Monday Night Raw title match, is to blame. They fucked everything up. They don't give a shit about creating moments. They don't give a shit about leaving lasting memories that are going to sit through generation after generation after generation like that. You embarrassed the entire meaning of Hell in a Cell. Mick Foley's probably somewhere fucking laughing. Laughing. Everybody that's ever competed inside a Hell in a Cell in this era is laughing. Mark Calloway is probably fucking shaking his head, laughing. I don't ever want to see another Hell in a Cell match ever again. Ever. The whole concept is dead. You ruined that tonight. It needs to be abolished off of every single fucking pay-per-view calendar from here on out. Every single one. I don't give a shit what it's replaced by. I don't give a shit what the fuck I see in October. It needs to go away. I don't think WWE should ever do another Hell in a Cell match, period. Retire the structure. Retire the match. You know, WWE had the wildcard rule all through the summer. WWE thought that the wildcard rule was going to enhance the shows on Monday and Tuesday night. Yet, the wildcard rule made every single Monday and Tuesday that much worse. It actually backfired on WWE. They canceled SmackDown live house shows because they needed SmackDown talent at Raw just in case they needed to use some of their top talent. because they would rather have the top talent on a Monday Night Raw using the wildcard rule than showing up on a SmackDown house show in front of 1,000 people. Would it have been so difficult to cancel this show tonight and not have a Hell in a Cell? Because WWE expected us. WWE legitimately thought that we were going to care about this show. This match tonight was one of 3 matches that were advertised. Universal title, a Raw Women's title, and a tag team match with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns teaming up against Rowan and Harper. That was it. Then we seen Friday Night Smackdown, and Charlotte made Bayley tap out. So we got a women's championship because the challenger has to beat the champion in order to get a match at said pay-per-view. So we had 4 matches. 4 matches going on into about 5 o'clock. Then I got a notification on Twitter that WWE added matches to the show. You know, there was actually a report by Dave Meltzer stating that he got a text from someone in WWE saying, "Don't worry, WWE's got quite the card lined up for Hell in a Cell. It's going to be a great show." If this is your idea of a great show, I think everybody needs to put the pen down and walk the fuck out the door and fire themselves. This was awful. WWE, for some reason, expected us to care, legitimately care about this show. Meanwhile, they themselves struggled to even give a shit about this show. Would it have been so difficult to cancel this show and just put these matches or these feuds and blow them off on Raw or SmackDown? Did it need to be inside Hell in a Cell? Did it? Did Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks need to be inside Hell in a Cell? No. Did Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins need to be inside Hell in a Cell? No. You could have easily main evented these shows during the week with these matches. There's no way that WWE didn't know that Raw was having its season premiere and NXT was going to be 2 hours against AEW on Wednesday night on USA Network. There's no way that WWE didn't know that Friday Night Smackdown was going to be this important and this big on Fox with the debut. Did Hell in a Cell really need to happen this week? You couldn't take it off the pay-per-view calendar and make either a Raw or SmackDown feel very pay-per-view-esque. You couldn't leave the entire month of October open for Crown Jewel to be built. You had all these weeks to build towards Crown Jewel, but you had to get Hell in a Cell in there. For what? Are you that greedy? Do you realize that this week has been overexposed already with WWE content, and then here you are thinking that we're legitimately going to give a shit about Hell in a Cell, and then you want to throw a women's tag team title match at us, you want to throw a 6-man tag at us, you want to throw another match between Corbin and Gable at us, Randy Orton versus Ali? What am I watching? Why am I going to care? Oh, it's WWE Wrestling, you're a fan, you should care. No! Everything on this show had absolutely no meaning. It had absolutely no meaning. So I don't want to hear from anybody that it would have been too difficult for WWE to cancel this show. They had no problem canceling every other show on their calendar during the summer for the wildcard rule. This would have been no different. And WWE, I'm sure, knew this week was on their calendar and it was going to be the biggest week of their year. They could have gotten rid of this show. It did not need to happen. It did not need to happen. And based on what happened tonight, WWE probably wishes it never happened. This show was awful. I don't know what else to say about this show, man. I'm in this thing 25 minutes deep. 25 minutes deep already. And I really don't even want to talk about the rest of this fucking show. I don't. I'm going to go over it because we had Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch that deserve our attention. That was an awesome match. Really, really great women's championship match. And outside that, I wouldn't say this show had anything else to offer. Quickly, guys, I'm JD. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below because I know you're feeling the same way. If you're new around here and you're feeling the same way about this show, let me know. Hit that subscribe button down below and turn on that bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys check out all the other content, man. A week's worth of WWE content is available to you down in the description. Make sure you guys go and check out all that stuff if you did miss any of it. And make sure you guys support me on Patreon if you guys want. Show some extra appreciation. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. The podcast tonight brought to you by Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. You guys can get 30 days free of their service, including one free audiobook of your choice. It's a great way to support the podcast. It's a great way to get yourself something for free. And that is pretty much it, man. audibletrial.com. Very simple. audibletrial.com/offthescript. One of the best parts about this, guys, if you sign up and you feel like Audible's not for you and you simply want to support the podcast, you guys can cancel in the 30 days and keep your audiobook for free. Once again, that's audibletrial.com/offthescript. I gotta be honest with you guys, man. I did not watch the pre-show. I don't know why you would expect me to watch the pre-show. Once I seen Lacey Evans and Natalya, I knew my eyes needed to remain on TBS. Because the Braves were playing the Cardinals. And then I seen Dansby Swanson tie the game, 1-1. Then I seen Adam Duvall give the Braves the lead, 3-1. Then I seen the Braves win. Now they're one game out of the NLCS. Monday is a game clincher. So why would I watch Natalya and Lacey Evans? Why? Why would you expect me to watch something that has absolutely no story behind it? Why would you want to watch something that you're undoubtedly going to get on Monday Night Raw? And WWE, lo and behold, they announced Lacey Evans and Natalya again on Monday Night Raw. Pretty much telling you when you can go take out the trash on Monday night for Tuesday pickup. Lacey Evans and Natalya, I don't give a shit. The Braves beat the Cardinals 3-1. The actual show started off with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. This is something that deserves our undivided attention. This was the best women's match on the main roster all year. This was a match that I was looking forward to very much. Now, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks at Clash of Champions had the best women's match on the main roster all year. The best women's match, period, in WWE belongs to Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. But this was the best match between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, period. This was awesome. And every bit of it inside Hell in a Cell gave you that Hell in a Cell feel. This one gave you more of a Hell in a Cell feel than whatever Rollins and Bray Wyatt did in the main event. Raw Women's Championship on the line. I loved the way the match started. The cage wasn't even lowered completely yet. And the women found themselves outside the cage. Now, Sasha attacked Becky before the cage was lowered, and they were outside. So they were brawling on the outside, into the cage, on the ramp. Lynch then kicked the door into Sasha Banks' face because Sasha went back into the structure. Cage was still kind of hanging there. It wasn't completely lowered. Referees were telling Sasha to get back in the ring, and Becky kicked the door into Sasha's face. The bell then rang. The referee attempted to lock the cage. Lynch grabbed the chain and started beating Sasha with it. Lynch then grabbed the chain and locked the door herself. Now, Banks was in control, and then Lynch found Sasha, threw her into the steel steps. Lynch went under the ring and pulled out a table and a ladder, so things were getting pretty brutal pretty early. Banks attacked Lynch from behind with a chair and set the ladder up against the cage. Lynch took Banks and rammed her face into a steel chair. Banks fought back, scored several near falls in this contest early on. Lynch briefly took over the match again. Banks kicked a chair in Lynch's face. Lynch fought back and hit 3 sliding drop kicks, which sent Banks into the cage. Now, this was one of my favorite spots of the entire night, not just this match. Banks hit a meteora off the apron onto Lynch, which sent Lynch into the ladder that Sasha Banks had set up just a little bit ago. That ladder was set up, and she went right into the ladder. Banks put Lynch's arm in a space on the cage door and slammed the door on her arm. So that was pretty awesome, too. Banks then in control. She was working on the arm, and she trapped the arm in a chair. Banks sat Lynch on a chair, and another one of my favorite spots of the match and of the evening. Becky was sitting on a chair, and Sasha came off the second turnbuckle with a meteora and went for a pinfall on Becky Lynch. That was awesome. That was one of the best meteora spots I think Sasha Banks has ever done. So Banks then opened a chair and stuck it in the side of the cage. I loved how the women were definitely coming up with more unique ideas. Some things that we've seen before. We've seen the Usos kind of prop in their match with the New Day inside Hell in a Cell. That was awesome. Prop some kendo sticks in between the cage slots. We've seen some things like that in previous Hell in a Cell matches, but I love the creativity that Becky and Sasha had using chairs on the side of the cage, using the ladders on the side of the cage, and even in this match, the women did a kendo stick spot by propping the kendo sticks through the holes of the cage. So I love the creativity here. It's very difficult to sit there and come up with different concepts in a match that has been happening so many times throughout WWE's history. It's so difficult to come up with certain ideas and be different. And I think the women really succeeded in trying to be different and doing certain things that really haven't been done before inside of Hell in a Cell. So we had Banks attempting to hit Lynch with another chair. Lynch ducked and rolled Banks up for a near fall. Lynch hit a dropkick and sent Banks flying into the cage. Sasha was really taking a lot of punishment in this thing. And you know that Sasha is so good at what she does that she's going to give you her all. She knows that she's opening this show in this type of match. She's going to go out there and say, you know what, bitch, follow this. Nobody's going to follow this. So that's their mentality. You've seen it written all over their body language, all over the bumps they were taking, all over every bit of both women. They knew that nobody was going to follow this. So I love that. So Lynch followed up with a suplex into the cage. She did a Bexploder to Sasha on the cage. Lynch used a drop toe hold into an open upside down chair. So she followed that up with a bulldog into the chair for a near fall. Lynch threw a chair at Banks. Banks caught it. This I didn't understand. This I didn't like. This I thought came off really bad. Becky threw a chair at Sasha, and Sasha caught the chair. And she just stood there. Lynch then hit a missile dropkick into the chair onto Sasha and went for a near fall. Sasha stood there, legitimately. She had a good 3 or 4 seconds with the chair in her hands, and she was just standing there after Becky threw it to her. Instead of throwing it back or throwing it down to the ground, she just stood there and ate a missile dropkick with a steel chair in hand right to the face. I didn't like that at all. I thought that was really, really sloppy. So, at this point, Banks somehow regained control with a kendo stick. Then in another one of the craziest spots in the match, Banks stuck kendo sticks in the side of the cage, and Lynch placed on an open chair. There was an open chair on the side of the cage with kendo sticks, holding the chair up, giving it some foundation. So, Lynch then sat Banks on the chair. Lynch then rocked Banks with a running dropkick off the apron, and she went back and head first into the side of the cage as she sat in that propped chair that hung on the side of the cage. Lynch then set up a table in the ring. Banks nailed a backstabber, which was brutal. Man, she really connected that backstabber. Lynch attempted a powerbomb through the table. Banks fought back. Banks then hit a meteora off the top rope through the table for a near fall that I thought was the end of the match. And all I'm thinking in this moment, because Sasha, I remember so vividly, Sasha and Charlotte had their Hell in a Cell match when they did, and no tables broke. So I'm thinking back, and I'm thinking about Charlotte, and I'm thinking to myself, Charlotte, that's how you break a table. Beautiful, man. Sasha with the meteoras, man. I love that. She does an excellent meteora. This one was through the table. Almost won her the championship. So Banks then locked in the bank statement using a kendo stick. So this reminded me of John Cena when he got the STF on Umaga and he used that fucking chain. You know, this was awesome. So she used a kendo stick while the bank statement was applied. Lynch crawled out of the ring. Not crawled, slipped out. She maneuvered herself out of the ring to get out of the bank statement. And then there was a tug of war with the kendo stick. And Becky took control of the kendo stick. She hit Sasha in the leg with the kendo stick. Banks then set Lynch up in a chair that she set up earlier. Banks tossed in a bunch of chairs in the ring. So this was fucking chairs galore. It was the chair factory here inside Hell in a Cell. Lynch fought back, gave Banks a suplex off the top onto the chairs. locked into the disarmer, and she actually tapped Sasha Banks out after the match. Becky was in the ring celebrating. Banks was on the ramp. She looked heartbroken as she watched Becky celebrate with the Raw Women's Championship. I don't like this ending. Sasha, after everything that they've done to bring her back and build her up as Becky's credible opponent, there's no way that Sasha should have lost. Now, a lot of you guys are probably saying, well, she didn't deserve a title match to begin with, but you got to think of it in WWE's eyes. They didn't have any competition for Becky anyway outside of Sasha. There was nobody else. There was nobody on that brand that was going to challenge Becky Lynch and give Becky Lynch a run at the championship. So Sasha was the only choice. That doesn't mean that Sasha comes back and loses. Now, I feel like Sasha and her return is wasted. I really do. I feel like everything that she's done to develop herself as a credible heel in the eyes of the audience for Becky Lynch's championship has been tarnished. It's been wasted. Now, again, I don't want to completely shit on this outcome. I'm going to only 50% shit on it. With this loss, I honestly see Sasha Banks moving to SmackDown Live. Now, if she doesn't move to SmackDown Live, then WWE has to have somebody come over from SmackDown and feud with Becky Lynch. This is what I'm proposing. If Sasha lost this match, she's moving over to SmackDown Live. The blue hair kind of goes with the whole theme. Simple, right? It's kind of silly, but it works. She lost here, she needs to move over to SmackDown Live. If she stays on Raw, this makes this outcome absolutely ridiculous. Sasha moves to SmackDown. WWE, I propose this to you because I know you're fucking listening. Asuka and Kairi Sane won the tag team championships tonight. I break up Asuka and Kairi Sane. I move Asuka to Monday Night Raw. I get rid of the women's championships. I retire and vanquish the women's championships. You can't have Asuka on a brand exclusive show and then Kairi Sane on the other brand exclusive show. You can't have them as tag team champions. So what do? You get rid of the championships. Asuka is the next in line for Becky Lynch. You play off the January match at the Royal Rumble, and you give Becky Lynch Asuka the way we need to see Asuka. That's what you do. Then Sasha Banks can feud with whoever over the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown Championship. It's not SmackDown Live anymore. Which then would give us Sasha and Charlotte again. Not something that I'd really care to see. So I'm going to reserve my judgment. If Sasha is moving to SmackDown, then I am 50% okay with this decision. I'm not, really. But if she doesn't, then this outcome was ridiculous, and they've absolutely went right back to square one with Sasha. Going nowhere. Other than that, this was the best match by fucking... God, I can't even... There's not even a number to describe how this match was the best match of the night. Nothing on this show even came close. Sasha and Becky killed it. This is the type of intensity we need this women's division to embody. Everything else just looks completely laughable after watching this. This is what the women's division should be. I loved every minute of it. The outcome, didn't like. But we're going to reserve judgment to see where Sasha ends up on Friday. Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Rowan and Harper. This was actually turned into a tornado tag team match, which was a very good decision by WWE. Thing to notice during Daniel Bryan's entrance. Now, I didn't think that this was going to play into the outcome, but I was leaving it open anyway, because I like to pay attention to these types of things. Daniel Bryan, when he came down the aisle, got a big babyface reaction. He was on the top rope like he usually does during his entrance. He did not lead in a yes chant. He came off the top turnbuckle and was just regular Daniel Bryan. He didn't lead in a yes chant at all on this show. So he usually does that as a babyface, and right now he's portrayed as a babyface. So I thought that was very interesting. Started off with all four men brawling. Bryan hit a missile dropkick on Rowan and then a suicide dive on the outside on both Harper and Rowan. He landed on Harper's knee, and it looked like Harper was legit hurt because Bryan had landed on him, and he was just laying in the corner, holding his knee. I was waiting for the X to show up, but I didn't see it. But Harper maintained that knee, and at the end of it, it was nothing more than a story element to the overall match, which I'm glad he's not hurt, but it really made it seem like he was really hurt. Nice sequence between Rowan And Reigns dropkick by Rowan, who throws a pretty mean fucking dropkick for a guy his size. Missed a big splash. Roman then muscled up Rowan for a great-looking Samoan drop. So both heels took advantage. On the outside, Rowan runs at Reigns with all of his weight and hits a running crossbody, throws all of his weight at Roman. Steel steps, then rammed right into Reigns, takes him out of the match. He goes and takes a little bit of a nap, as everybody does in these tornado matches. Now, double team on Bryan. Typical double team moves by both heels. Bryan was on Harper's shoulders, with Rowan about to come off the top rope and do some doomsday device type move. Reigns wakes up after his nap and stops the offense. This leads to a label lock on Rowan, and Harper breaks up the submission. Rowan did his power slam into a jackhammer on Bryan, which looks great. Goes for a cover, and Bryan kicks out. Bryan countered both men. Harper delivers a Michinoku driver, and Reigns breaks up that pinfall attempt. Now it's Reigns and Harper in the ring one-on-one. Some offense by Reigns, and Rowan pulls down the top rope. Roman goes flying to the outside. Bryan on the inside delivering yes kicks to Harper right before the final yes kick is hit. Rowan pulls Bryan outside. Roman then hits a drive-by on Rowan. Harper dives through the ropes, nearly kills himself, and takes out Reigns in the process. He almost hit his head on the announce table, in which, with the velocity he came through the ropes, almost killed himself. He almost nailed his head on the American commentary desk. Kevin Dunn gave us a full... I had to put this in the notes because I just find it hilarious. You know, AEW did the full, arena camera shot several times on AEW Dynamite. Kevin Dunn gave us a full arena shot of the sold-out venue in Sacramento. I wonder why they did that. It's not because it's a pretty shot. Everything that he does and everything that this company does, folks, there's a meaning behind it. Believe me. I just find that funny, man. I had to put that in the notes. Harper and Rowan cleared off the announce tables. All three of them. So you got the Spanish, the American, and then the German. They drove Bryan into the apron. Rowan slams Reigns on the outside. Slams Harper onto Reigns. This was going crazy now. Rowan pulls apart the timekeeper's wall. Slams the wall into Roman. And Roman goes flying into the front row over the barricade. Harper and Rowan stand on the American announce table with Bryan. They were about to powerbomb him through the table. But Bryan head scissors Harper off the table. And Reigns comes out of nowhere, runs across the Spanish announce table, and spears Eric Rowan through the German announce table. He spears him off the American announce table into the German announce table below. Harper's in the ring. Bryan with 3 running kicks in the corner like he usually does. Signature Bryan. Bryan had Harper on the top rope, went for Hurricane Rana. Harper caught him mid-move and delivered a powerbomb off the top rope. Ending came with a really cool spot. Harper went for a spinning clothesline on Bryan. He ducked. Reigns delivered a Superman punch. Bryan delivered his running knee. And Roman off the ropes with a spear to Harper and pinned him for the win. This was a very fun match. At this point, they hit a home run with the Women's Championship. They had a great tag team match in which they changed the regular 2-on-2 rules to a tornado, which enhanced the match completely. I don't know where Rowan and Harper go from here. I really don't. But one has to wonder that everything that WWE did with this storyline was just a complete waste. They built them up as monsters. Now, I wouldn't say that they're buried. I've seen some people on social media saying that they were buried. They weren't buried. They looked legitimately like monsters tonight. There had to be one winner and there had to be one loser. I don't know what it means for Harper and Rowan that they lost. Ultimately, Bryan and Roman, they got their revenge. There's nothing more to prove. Storyline is over. I expected Bryan to turn on Roman. And we didn't get that. I was expecting, now it makes too much sense, so that means WWE won't do it, Bryan to turn on Roman, just announce himself as the culprit behind everything, the mastermind behind everything. He stays with Harper and Rowan, and Roman gets the Usos to join him, and it's a 3-on-3 battle at the Survivor Series. Now that makes a little bit too much sense, but it looks like they killed off this entire storyline. We don't know what's going to happen as far as the draft goes. I don't see Roman Reigns moving off of SmackDown Live. I could see Daniel Bryan going to Monday Night Raw. I don't know where Harper and Rowan end up. I don't. Maybe they go to Monday Night Raw with Daniel Bryan. I have no idea. Or maybe Vince McMahon breaks up Harper and Rowan, and that's the end of them. Just like it's the end of this storyline. I don't know. But one has to wonder what happens to these two guys after all of these months of just something that started out great and then completely went to shit and nobody gave a shit about it in the end. Bryan and Roman win. At the end, Bryan went for a handshake and then he ended up giving Roman Reigns a hug, and it was a baby face moment at the end of this match. Randy Orton versus Ali. Don't know why this match was happening. This match is something that should have been seen on SmackDown's 20th anniversary on Friday. It felt forced, and whatever the outcome of this match was, it would mean nothing. It's just there to fill time. It's a come-down match for the first two matches that started the show off really, really good. Ali was about to climb the top rope, and Orton tripped him up. This was the first big spot of the match. Ali hit the ground on the outside, and it looked brutal. I love Ali for the simple fact that everything that guy does, man, from his selling to the bumps he takes, he does it, and he does it well beyond what he has to do. He is in line right now, I hope, to be one of the biggest faces on whatever brand he goes to. Because the guy has everything that he needs to be a breakout star. Everything he does is done with so much intensity and so much passion and so much love that you cannot sit there and not like Ali. I love what he does in that ring. It's so physical, and he makes you care and believe in what he's doing. And I really appreciate that. So Orton followed to the outside. He slammed Ali onto the American announce table, which is not a spot you want to be in tonight, because the American announce table and all the announce tables were just prime targets on Hell in a Cell. Orton did his signature dissection stomps. Orton with Ali again in the outside, or on the outside rather, wanted to use the announce desk, and Ali flipped away and executed a beautiful drop kick to stop Orton. Orton got right back up and threw Ali into the steel post, and this was a brutal spot, because after this spot, and again, it goes back to what I said about Ali, he does everything with fucking full-on heart and passion. He got thrown into the steel post, and when you seen him back in the ring, he had a huge bruise on the side of his ribs. I believe it was on the right side. It was fucking awful. He's got to be banged up and feeling like shit after that spot. Back in the ring, Orton with a body scissor sleeper hold into a headlock, grounded Ali. Orton working that methodical style in this match, as always. Orton's matches have been painfully boring as of late. Ali fought back, and he nailed a dropkick. Orton rolls to the outside. Ali with a suicide dive. Orton goes flying over the American announce table. Ali gets some offense. Went for a facebuster. He went for a facebuster, a cover. Orton kicked out. Orton with his vintage snap power slam for a 2 count of his own. Orton did some trash talking. Ali with a spinning heel kick. Ali went for the 054, his finishing move. Orton moved. Orton went for an RKO. Ali evaded that. Ali again off the top with a tornado DDT. Orton down. Ali went for a 450. Orton moved out of the way. Now this is where things get very interesting. Orton does his hanging DDT. Ali had this disgusting bruise, like I mentioned, on his right side. I'm assuming that was from the steel post. The RKO was about to come. Orton was setting up for the RKO. Orton delivers the RKO, but Ali blocks it. In mid-RKO, he does a handstand. He prevents Orton from hitting the RKO by planting his palms on the mat. He evades the RKO in the middle of the RKO. Orton runs at Ali. He hits the turnbuckle. Ali hits him from the apron with a step-up front kick to the face. Ali then rolls through the ropes. He does this roll. I don't know what he was going for. Orton caught him with an RKO mid-roll, and that was it. Randy Orton wins with an RKO literally out of nowhere. Orton wins. That was the best spot of the night. That was the best spot of the night. I don't know what Ali was going for, but again, I love the creative ways in which the RKO legitimately comes out of nowhere. That evasion of the RKO by Ali, where he stopped it mid-move, I've never seen that done before. Kudos to both of those guys for coming up with something like that. That looked great. Easily one of the best spots, if not the best spot of the entire night. Again, I don't know why the match happened. Randy Orton winning this does nothing. I'm assuming this was like a showcase match for either Raw or SmackDown. Ali could have won this match and taken this momentum to whatever brand he's going to. I don't know why Randy Orton won this match. I don't even know why this match happened, to be perfectly honest with you. Speaking of Randy Orton, quickly, because I'm not going to talk about this any other time. Randy Orton was on Twitch playing Call of Duty Zombies with somebody. I don't know who he's playing with, but he's playing Call of Duty Zombies. A lot of people are getting on Randy Orton's case because he casually dropped the N-word. And he was talking about AEW and how he'd love to fight Sammy Guevara in AEW. He says he wants a match with The Rock at WrestleMania. He says he wants a match with CM Punk, no matter where it is. If he had to go to AEW to get a match with Punk, he wants a match with Punk. He was doing a AJ Styles impersonation. He was just talking about Sheamus and how he wishes Sheamus was back in the WWE locker room. And he was casually drinking and playing Call of Duty Zombies, and he dropped this N-word out of nowhere. I listened to the clip. It wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be. And I don't take Randy Orton to be that type of guy. Randy Orton would never put himself in that position to make the WWE look bad. Now, the clip is on social media if you guys are going to go out there and hunt for it. The archives on the Twitch stream is gone. It's taken down. But I think people are making it a big deal, and they're making a big deal out of it for absolutely no reason. They're trying to nail Randy Orton with something. Let it go. Let it go. It's fine. Okay? He was drunk. He was drinking. Randy Orton has had no other instances in which that was said. You don't have to fucking lynch the guy for a slip of the tongue. Shit happens. He's not that way. He's not going to be that way for WWE. He's not going to put his family in that type of predicament. Just stop with the bullshit and move on. It's over. It's not going to affect you. It's not going to make you lose sleep at the end of the night. Don't worry about it. Moving on. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Kabuki Warriors. I hate the mashup of Kairi Sane and Asuka's theme song. I hate it. It doesn't make them feel like a legit team. Commentary was explaining that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were complaining about the Kabuki Warriors getting a title shot tonight, as they were asking what did they do to deserve a title match. You could say that about anybody legitimately on the roster. Like, what did Braun Strowman do to deserve a title match against Seth Rollins? Nothing. Nothing. AJ Styles even said so. He looked at the title and got a title match. What has Cain Velasquez done to get a title shot at the WWE Championship? You know what's coming. You know that match is going to be booked for the Crown Jewel show. What did he do to get a title shot at Brock Lesnar? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, it's the same for every other champion in this company. I don't know why commentary is trying to make this seem like a legit gripe by the champions. On commentary, Michael Cole pushed the draft and the idea that Fox, I found this to be very interesting, that Fox and USA Network want Raw and SmackDown separate with their own unique rosters, and they want the brands to be specific to just Raw and SmackDown. No crossover. That's what he said. He didn't say no crossover, but he said Fox and USA Network want separate, unique brands for their shows, which I found to be very interesting. Kairi Sane knocked Bliss off the apron, isolated Cross in their corner. Asuka knocked Bliss off the apron, hit a sliding knee on Cross. Bliss and Cross took over, isolated Asuka. Asuka looked great in this whole situation. Now, Cross caught Asuka in the ring apron skirt, and Bliss rocked her with a sliding dropkick. The Kabuki Warriors took over and had Bliss on their side of the ring. Asuka used an ankle lock and a half crab on Bliss. Bliss actually looked to be working tonight. There was a spot in the night where she took a long-winded nap, but she was taking some pretty decent bumps. Bliss counted out of the ankle lock, and Cross got the hot tag. She had a crossbody on Sane for a near fall. Kairi attempted the insane elbow off the top. Now, this came off of an Alabama slam. She went to the top rope with the insane elbow. Cross got her knees up, and Kairi hit all knees on the way down. She then put Kairi Sane on the ropes and hit her twisted neck breaker for a near fall. Cross-rocked Asuka with a clothesline. Bliss hit a cannonball off the apron onto Sane, which I was surprised that she actually did. That was the biggest bump she took all night. Asuka then literally out of nowhere spits mist, green mist, like the Great Muda or one of these Japanese legends, right? Spitting mist into Nikki Cross's eyes. And then she gets hit with a kick to the back of the head. And the Kabuki Warriors win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Now, two things. One, when has Asuka ever needed green mist to win a match? She's beaten everybody from Nikki Cross in the past. She's beaten Alexa Bliss. She's beaten legitimately every woman on this roster. Now you're trying to tell me that she needs green mist to start winning matches? This is how far Asuka has fallen on the WWE ladder, where she needs to resort to cheating to win. Now, are they heels? I don't think so. So the green mist obviously wasn't necessary. I found it very, well, actually, I didn't find it very weird, but I found it very funny how Asuka spat the green mist on Nikki Cross and not Alexa Bliss. WWE would never put Alexa Bliss in that situation to get green mist spit in her face. The second thing is, and I might be dipping into the conspiracy theory pool here, because WWE is triggered by AEW. Everything that they do is a counter to AEW. Folks, it's called the AEW effect. Riho just won their women's championship. She beat Nyla Rose in what was not really a good match, but it was a match that the fans made important because of their love for Riho. Riho won their women's championship. Is it out of the realm of possibility for WWE to look at that now that AEW has a 22-year-old Japanese champion as their first ever women's champion? Is it because of that Asuka and Kairi Sane won the women's tag team titles? I don't know. Because I find it just completely bizarre that WWE now wants to start booking Asuka and Kairi Sane as its tag team champions when they should have been tag team champions the first night that they were paired as a team. You took the titles off of your beloved Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Now? Now. For what reason? For what reason? Like I mentioned before in the Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch detailed match that we went over on this pay-per-view. Asuka needs to move to Monday Night Raw, and she needs to be built as the killer of the women's division. That's Becky Lynch's next opponent. A heel Asuka against Becky Lynch. That's what you need to do. Kairi remains on SmackDown. Women's championships, absolutely irrelevant. Get rid of them. Separate these two women and kill the tag team championships. Because if that's the case, WWE would have an easier time to do that with Asuka and Kairi Sane as the champions instead of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. They would have never done that with Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Now that it's on the Kabuki Warriors, now they have an even better chance of doing that and getting rid of the championships because there's nobody in the division. There's legitimately no other tag teams on this women's roster. They're all done. There's nobody. Just end it. Asuka and Kairi Sane are your new women's champions, and I just find it's very bizarre that it happened on this night. Braun Strowman and the Viking Raiders, first the OC. There was no tag team championship match like I had predicted. The Viking Raiders beat the OC twice, so you would think that would put them in line against Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. We might see that match on Monday Night Raw. I don't know. But I figured that would make for a decent pay-per-view match instead of this garbage. Why was I watching this? What was the point of this match? This is a Monday Night Raw match on a pay-per-view in which you ask me to care about it, and I don't give a shit about it. This is a Monday Night Raw-esque match on a Sunday night in which I would rather be doing anything else than watching these six guys. Now, this match was put together simply to get Braun Strowman over and give him a spot on this show to continue his momentum because Tyson Fury apparently is showing up on Monday Night Raw tomorrow with an open microphone. So, the babyfaces had an early advantage here. Eric gave Luke Gallows a suplex. OC started to take over when Styles came from behind and isolated Eric on their side of the ring. Strowman caught Styles, but Gallows knocked him off the apron. Eric caught Styles with a huge back body drop. Strowman got the hot tag. He went wild. He does this thing now where he does this. And he runs around the ring. He runs around. Braun Strowman can run really fast, guys. I'm not sure if you know that. He runs really fast. So he ran wild, running around at ringside, knocking down Gallows and knocking down Carl Anderson and knocking down AJ Styles. These guys look like losers. Hope that big money contract is coming in play, guys. Hope you're really feeling good about yourself. Strowman missed the charge and went shoulder first into the post. Styles locked in the calf crusher. Eric made the save. Strowman attempted a power slam, but Anderson went after Strowman's leg. The OC beat down Strowman. Referee called for a disqualification. The crowd loudly booed. And, of course, this is not the only time the crowd booed. Another lame finish on a shitty show. After the match, the Viking Raiders hit a double suicide dive onto Gallows and Anderson. Styles attempted a phenomenal forearm on Strowman, but Strowman nailed him with a big right hand. Again, all done to promote a possible match with Tyson Fury. Gallows and Anderson tried to get up Styles and pick him up and just carry him to the back. He didn't know where he was. They had to tell him it was Sunday and that he was in Sacramento and that he was the United States champion and that he got knocked out by Braun Strowman. This was a worthless match, folks. All done, like I said, to build momentum for Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury. My quick thoughts before we get into Monday Night Raw on Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury. This just goes to show you that WWE has legitimately run out of ideas for Braun Strowman. In fact, I'm not going to hate it too much because I would rather see him in this role than fighting for a U.S. championship or a Universal championship or any championship. There's legitimately no one on the roster that Braun Strowman can feud with that is going to get my attention. Everything has been done or everything is just utterly boring because Braun Strowman is utterly boring. He is a one-trick pony that offers absolutely no excitement outside this, whatever the fuck he does on the outside. So the fact that he's in a match or a possible match or a feud with Tyson Fury is actually good. I would rather see him in that position than fight anyone on the active roster because the guy can't wrestle. He can't wrestle. So you might as well put him in a work shoot with somebody who's not even a pro wrestler and have him get his ass kicked. There's no way anybody would legitimately look at these two guys and think Braun Strowman's going to knock out a professional fucking undefeated boxer in Tyson Fury. Give me a break. Get these hands. Braun Strowman's going to need a new fucking catchphrase after Tyson Fury gets done with him. Fuck out of here, man. Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. Again, nothing on the line. Why would you care about this match? It's funny. WWE gave us this match 3 times. The first match, everybody was invested in. Everybody. Absolutely great match. Couldn't ask for a better King of the Ring final. Right? We all wanted Gable to win. Baron Corbin shed a new light on his haters, right? Everybody was like, oh, Corbin's getting better. Corbin's getting much better in the ring. And then they have the second match. It's just as good as the first match. Not better, but it was another great match. Probably the best match on that specific episode of Monday Night Raw. Then they do it again at this show. Again. And I have to ask you guys, what is on the line? What does this mean? Do these guys get anything out of it? Yeah, Gable gets a win over Baron Corbin. Great. The guy was just buried on Friday Night Smackdown. Now you expect me to care about Baron Corbin losing to Chad Gable after The Rock called him an STD. I don't give a shit. Called him a 35-year-old virgin who dresses up as a mock Burger King. I'm supposed to care about Baron Corbin now? You buried Corbin. You buried the fact that he won the King of the Ring. Now I'm supposed to care about Chad Gable beating Baron Corbin after he had all his accolades just shit on? He should have won the King of the Ring. Gable. I don't get it. Corbin mocked Gable before the match. Started making short jokes. Corbin officially changed Gable's name to Shorty Gable. Folks, it was reported about a month ago that Chad Gable was going to be called Shorty G. So they made this match only, and I'm taking a shot in the dark here. They made this match specifically to get out Gable's new name. He's no longer Chad Gable. He's now Shorty Gable. And they ran with this gimmick in every possible way that they could even imagine. Corbin said it. Greg Hamilton said it. Kayla Braxton said it. So Chad Gable, even though he's one of the legit best wrestlers that they have on that roster, he's being mocked because of his size. And I don't know if that's going to lead to an overwhelming amount of success on the main roster. So Gable charged at Corbin, took him to the ground. Gable applied the ankle lock. Corbin fought back. Corbin was slowing the pace down, used the chin lock. Gable recovered, hit a rolling German suplex for a near fall. This was pretty much the same match that we've seen the last two times. So there's really nothing here out of the ordinary. Gable hit two rolling kicks in the corner. Gable countered the third into a powerbomb for a near fall. Gable fought back and slammed the leg against the ring post. Corbin's leg. Corbin fought back and hit a deep six. I love the deep six. It's one of my favorite moves in all WWE. Corbin's got the best setup and the best finisher in WWE. I'll give him that. Corbin attempted the end of days, but Gable slipped out. He followed up with a moonsault for a near fall. Gable went right into the ankle lock. Corbin made it to the ropes. Corbin recovered, chokeslammed Gable on the ring apron. Corbin then tried to hit Gable with the scepter. He beat this guy twice, so now he needs to resort to cheating to beat a guy who he beat twice. I don't understand it. Gable ducked. The referee tried to take the scepter from Corbin. Gable rolled Corbin up for the win. Greg Hamilton then announced Chad Gable as the winner, but he didn't say Chad Gable. He said Shorty Gable as the winner. The winner of the match is Shorty Gable. I don't understand. I really don't understand this company. It's a fucking joke. It really is a joke. So, we had a shot after the match of the international commentators. R-Truth and Carmella chased Tamina Snuka, who's the 24/7 champion. Tamina pulled Funaki in front of her. Carmella hit Tamina with a super kick, and R-Truth pinned Tamina for the 24/7 championship. I don't know why this just doesn't stay on social media. I don't know why it doesn't stay on social media. It's fucking ridiculous. Nobody wants to see this on the show. You're gonna do this on Fox? You're gonna do this type of shit on Fox? Keep it to YouTube. I don't get it. It's not even funny anymore. Everybody looks like a fucking clown. Bayley versus Charlotte. SmackDown Live Women's Title match, or Friday Night SmackDown Women's Title match. I don't get why I should care about this. I really don't. What am I supposed to say about this? Really. The reason why she got this match is for two reasons. One, Bayley cheated at Clash of Champions. And two, Charlotte tapped out Bayley on Friday Night SmackDown. So Bayley got cocky. She was showboating in front of Charlotte in the beginning of the match. Charlotte caught her with a big boot, started chopping her in the corner. Charlotte kipped up, played to the crowd. The crowd was pretty much dead for the majority of this match, by the way. Charlotte tried to work over Bayley's leg. Bayley evaded the attack and dragged her by the legs to the floor. She applied a half crab in the middle of the ring, but Charlotte rolled through and leveraged Bayley's shoulders down for a 2 count. Several minutes later, Charlotte hit natural selection for a near fall. Charlotte went for the figure 4. Bayley blocked it, rolled up Charlotte. Bayley tried to score a pin with her legs high on the ropes, cheating with the leverage pin. Referee saw it, didn't count. Bayley complained to the referee. Charlotte gave her a big boot, applied the figure 8, and Bayley again tapped out for Charlotte and her 10th title reign. So that was pretty much it. Folks, Charlotte winning the Women's Championship for a 10th time in 4 years is downright ridiculous. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. All I will say is this. WWE, it is okay if Charlotte doesn't hold a championship. Do you know how your women's championship is devalued? In fact, it works the opposite way. When Charlotte holds the championship, with the amount of reigns that this woman has been given in 4 years, it absolutely devalues the championship. Now, if the title went to somebody like Ember Moon, and she held it for 6 months and had a decent title reign, or if the title went to a Ruby Riott when she comes back, or if the title went to literally anybody that's not named Charlotte Flair, it would be a better title reign. Charlotte doesn't add any value to the championship. The only thing that people see when Charlotte is the champion is the fact that WWE loves their blondes, and WWE is forcing you with an agenda. And everybody sees it. It's the Charlotte Flair agenda. We all know she's going to break her father's fictional fucking title reign. We all know it. But Jesus Christ, build the woman up over several years. No, don't let everybody sit there for 4 years and have this woman be 10 title reigns in already. It's okay. You're not going to lose sleep at the end of the night if Charlotte isn't a women's champion. I don't think Bayley did anything with that championship at all. Now, it's going to be interesting to see where Bayley goes with this. You know, she was crying at the end of the match. She was complaining to the fans at the end of the match. It's going to be interesting if Bayley finally snaps and we get a darker Bayley. She's been cheating a little bit more. She's been a little bit more obnoxious. Take it to the next level. She needs to go dark. I want to see no hugs. I don't want to see any Bayley buddies. I want to see this woman come out with black eyeliner and black mascara. And I want to see this woman go fucking emo on everybody. That's what I want to see. Bayley has to change it up now that she lost the Women's Championship. Charlotte, I couldn't give a single shit about Charlotte and her 10th title reign. The only reason why WWE gave her a title reign is because she's staying on SmackDown Live, and WWE has all their champions on that brand lined up. They got Lesnar at the top. They got their woman, Charlotte, right there as the face of their women's division. By the way, Becky is still the Raw Women's Champion. Seth Rollins is not moving anywhere via the draft. He's staying on Monday Night Raw. If Becky is the Raw Women's Champion, Rollins is staying on that show. Clearly, he's still the Universal Champion. Speaking of which, Seth Rollins and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, Hell in a Cell match for the Universal Championship. The Firefly Funhouse jingle played. We've seen The Fiend's official theme music in the entrance. It's fucking awesome. I love it. He showed up on the stage with the lantern. He entered the ring. He was wearing his Fiend mask. He took off his coat. There was a red spotlight that was just throughout the match. The entire screen, the entire ring was all red. I didn't know what to think about it. I was going blind, but at the same time, I kind of enjoyed it because it was kind of different. It was unique to The Fiend. It gave The Fiend this different mystique, you know? I actually did like it, but I thought it was a little obnoxious. About halfway through, I was like, Jesus Christ, my eyes are going crazy. So getting used to the red during the match, it was very unique, yet I thought it fit the Fiend very well. Seth tried to attack the Fiend with a kendo stick early. Fiend was no selling moves, which was great. Very Undertaker-esque. Fiend caught Seth flying at him with the Uranagi. He then took it to Seth at ringside. Seth picked up the steel steps and started attacking the Fiend with it. He hit the Fiend with the steps, and it wasn't really doing anything to the Fiend. So he got his dives on Bray Wyatt at this point, his signature shitty suicide dives. He did a second one, and then he threw him into the stairs. Fiend caught Seth flying at him through the ropes again, but this time the Fiend caught him midair and drove him into the side of the structure. Seth came back with a enziguri super kick. Fiend went into a table that was set up in the ring. Seth landed a frog splash through the table, off the top rope, and the table broke. So the Fiend went through the table. At this point, I was like, all right, we're getting some offense in on the Fiend. So the Fiend stood up. He no-sold it. Seth looked scared at this point. As always, Seth the pussy looking scared. Seth landed a stomp. Fiend stood up, no-sold it. So we're getting a lot of old-school Undertaker vibes here. Seth kicked him, charged. Fiend hit Sister Abigail, and I thought that was it. As soon as he hit Sister Abigail, that was it. He kicked out of Sister Abigail. The crowd was audibly disappointed. Fiend stayed on Seth with a barrage of punches. Took it to Seth at ringside, hit him with a mallet. He pulled out that mallet that you've seen him splatter Rambling Rabbit with on one of the Funhouse episodes. He picked that up. So Seth came back with 2 super kicks and then 2 stomps in the ring. Crowd began booing at this point because they wanted Bray Wyatt to win the Universal Championship. He got up again. Crowd went crazy. So the Fiend stood up. Crowd was going crazy. He gave the Fiend a pedigree. Another pedigree. Another stomp. Crowd started booing Seth Rollins. Absolutely all over Rollins at this point. Fiend sat up, looked at Seth. Seth kicked him in the face. Another stomp, and another stomp, and another stomp, and another stomp. He went on a barrage of stomps. That's the only way he felt he could beat the Fiend. So everybody at this point, Seth Rollins was the most hated man in all of WWE. So Seth was contemplating what else he could do. He stood over the Fiend and bashed him across the forehead with a steel chair. He went for a cover. Fiend kicked out. Seth rolled to the floor. He placed a chair over the Fiend's face. He then took a ladder from underneath the ring and jabbed the ladder down on his face. Now, at this point, Fiend kicked out again, and Rollins could not believe anything that was going on right now. He rolled to the floor. He pulled out kendo sticks from underneath the ring. He then found a toolbox. He put the ladder over the Fiend's head. He began smashing the large toolbox on top of the ladder and the chair that were covering Bray Wyatt's face. He put the toolbox on top of the ladder. So after everything he did, he took one item, hit Bray Wyatt with it. He placed it on Bray Wyatt's face, took another item, and started just placing all these items on top of Bray Wyatt's face. He put the toolbox on top of the ladder, lying over the Fiend. He then grabbed the chair and threw it to the side. He leaned on the ring apron and tried to think of what else he could do. He then looked underneath the ring and found a sledgehammer. Now, the referee got involved here. The referee was telling him, think about what you're doing. Why would you do this to him? Think about what you're doing. Why would you do that? Don't use it. The referee said he was going too far. Bray Wyatt was laying there. Rollins didn't give a shit. He pushed the referee out of the way and slammed the sledgehammer on top of all these objects that were laying on Bray Wyatt's face. And the referee called for the bell. The referee stopped the match. The referee DQ'd Seth Rollins inside a match that has no DQ. No DQ. Now, I sat there and I'm like, what the fuck? WWE gave you the worst Hell in a Cell ending possible last year. I'm thinking to myself, WWE probably looked back at last year's Hell in a Cell and wondered to themselves, how could we make an even worse ending this year? They succeeded. This was the worst Hell in a Cell ending I have ever seen. This was one of the worst Hell in a Cell matches I have ever seen. It was ridiculous. And the funny thing is, WWE gave you a poll on their Twitter account. How is the Hell in a Cell match going to end? Pinfall, submission, or DQ? And the fact that they put DQ as a list of options for an ending for a Hell in a Cell match kind of gave away the ending of the match. Because if WWE put DQ, then you know that they were contemplating ways to come up with a DQ. How can you have a Hell in a Cell match end in a DQ? A DQ. And that's when I think of that. You embarrassed everything that match was. With what you did tonight, you embarrassed Mick Foley. You embarrassed The Undertaker. You embarrassed Shawn Michaels. You embarrassed Triple H. And everybody that's been in an iconic Hell in a Cell match. Every single one of these men. You embarrassed the women tonight. You embarrassed Sasha and Becky inside that Hell in a Cell with the fucking bullshit that you pulled tonight. How does a Hell in a Cell match end in a DQ? I don't understand it. You should look at yourself in the fucking mirror, and the person looking back at you should call you a fucking idiot. Boos all out the arena. All through the arena, boos. Half a dozen referees came out. Fans began chanting AEW, AEW, AEW. Medics were there. They rolled out a gurney. Fiend was put on a gurney. At this point, I'm like, look at what they're doing to Bray Wyatt. Look at what they're doing to the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Fiend suddenly rose up and grabbed Seth Rollins with the mandible claw. He threw Seth out of the ring and gave Seth's sister Abigail on the floor. He gave the mandible claw to Seth again. And Seth chomped down on some blood packets, and he was spitting up blood and coughing up blood, and he was gagging with the Fiend's mandible claw still applied. AEW chants rang out as this show went off the air. AEW chants went off the air. That is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. This match was a complete disaster. A complete disaster. Everything that they tried to do, everything that they told with Seth Rollins, everything that they told with Bray Wyatt completely went down the fucking toilet with the way that they produced this match. It was just overly scripted. It was to a point where it was okay, and then all these objects and Seth just maniacally trying to beat the Fiend in any way that he could. And he was given every reason to with the no rules. And then you end up disqualifying him anyway. If you didn't want the Fiend to win the Universal Championship, why did you book this match to be a Hell in a Cell? Why? Why did you ruin the luster and the appeal and the entire history of the Hell in a Cell with this match? Why did you give us the Fiend in a Universal Championship match if he was never going to win the Universal Championship? You do know that the lasting effect that this match is going to have on both Rollins and Bray Wyatt is irreversible. It is irreversible. Rollins is the biggest heel in WWE right now. Nobody wants to see Bray Wyatt walk out a loser. Nobody wants to see Seth Rollins as the Universal Champion. They came to this show tonight to see one thing and one thing only, and that's Bray Wyatt win the Universal Championship, and you did not deliver. So now Rollins has to live with the fact that he is going to be the most vilified man in all of WWE. You tonight turned Seth Rollins into Roman Reigns of 2018. That's exactly what you did. You turned Seth Rollins into Roman Reigns of 2018. Bray Wyatt's the biggest babyface in all of WWE. You want this guy to remain a heel? He ain't a heel no more. He's a babyface. Rollins is the biggest heel in the company. Now, you gave me Bray Wyatt in a Universal title match, a match that he should have won. First time. You had one chance to make this right, and you didn't. Of course. WWE has gold presented in front of them, and what do? They flush it down the fucking toilet. That's all they did tonight. Now, Bray Wyatt's going to get what? Another Universal Championship match? And what's going to happen then? When you had him in the driver's seat to win the title tonight, now you want to have another match for Universal Championship? The appeal of Bray Wyatt winning the Universal Championship is never going to be the same as it was tonight. He had that crowd in the palm of his hand as he was buried underneath everything, and you failed to deliver the outcome the fans wanted. And the backlash that you got with chants of AEW and restart the match, you deserve every bit of it. Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt as two acts that I respect in the ring. Two acts. Bray Wyatt's creativity was fucking flushed down the toilet tonight. Seth Rollins, I don't know Seth Rollins or Colby as a human being. I don't know how he is backstage. If I was to pinpoint something on Seth Rollins and how he is, I don't know how he could look at that match right there, Mick Foley and The Undertaker in 1998. I don't know how he can look at that and look at himself in his career, him being inside Hell in a Cell, and even fucking compare himself to what happened there on that night. He should be embarrassed for himself. I don't know how he was handed a script like this. I don't know how he was handed an outcome like this, and he gave his seal of approval. I don't know why he didn't voice his opinion and be like, you know what? I don't deserve this Universal Championship anymore. I think this championship does belong on Bray Wyatt. I think he right now is the hottest thing in WWE. Let's turn the championship over to him and book the match with an outcome that gets him over instead of me maintaining my championship going into Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. Seth Rollins is someone that I feel accepts mediocrity. Seth Rollins is somebody that I look at and I feel like he's got the corporate dick in his hand and he's going to be told to do something and he's not going to challenge anybody on it. I think Seth Rollins looked at the script and he gave yes, and failed to change anything and voice his opinion on anything. And he's the type of guy that comes off as doing anything that he's asked and doesn't change it for the better of the match or the entire show in itself. He doesn't want to create an epic moment. He's the same fucking person that I mentioned and described in the beginning of this show. He doesn't give a shit about creating an epic moment. He doesn't give a shit about creating a lifetime memory for the fans and the kids of this generation. He doesn't give a shit about that. He only gives a shit about himself. And no matter how you think of Seth Rollins tonight is going to be vilified for the rest of his WWE Universal title run. And when they finally take that title off of him, it's going to be a celebratory moment. And if it goes to Bray Wyatt, it's not going to be the same as it would have been tonight. WWE dropped the ball, and they deserved every bit of that AEW chant that Sacramento gave them. I'm getting the fuck out of here, man. This was an awful, awful show. The ending was one of the worst Hell in a Cell endings ever, if not the worst ever. WWE needs to do themselves a favor and abolish the Hell in a Cell structure. They made a complete mockery out of it. And Paul Heyman, being a Monday Night Raw executive director, how he looks at this shit and is okay with a DQ ending inside a structure that is placed in a feud to track two individuals, man and woman, inside that structure with no rules to finish what has started. And you allow a DQ ending in a match that doesn't have DQ? I don't get it. Hell in a Cell? Get rid of it. So, getting out of here, guys. Thank you so very much. And I will see you all right back here tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. See you then.